You span the bottle with, some might say, too much enthusiasm. You weren't sure who you wanted it to land on, but you would be lying if you said your classmates weren't hot as hell. If you had to suffer through a lockdown, you could at least enjoy yourself while you did it. The bottle came to a halt and everyone gave a collective gasp while you, having enough sense to do it in your head, cheered. "Looks like we're finally going to see what's under the mask," Kirishima said with a grin, nudging a disinterested-looking Bakugo while all eyes fell on Shoji. "That's what you think," the masked, multiple-limbed male said through a mouth on the end of his third arm. Your excitement wavered. Ah, you hadn't thought about that. Kissing a pair of lips not technically on his face was hardly any fun at all.
"Oh, you're not going to let listener kiss you properly?"
Uraraka whined, thinking Shoji wanted to spoil the game before it had a chance to get going. "I never said that," Shoji mumbled as he heaved himself off the floor. You weren't sure what he meant, but followed his lead, getting to your feet when you realized he planned to follow through on the game. As the others muttered giddily, hoping to finally catch a glance of Shoji's mystery face, he came toward you and held his arms out as if for you to take his hands. You noticed Kaminari pulling out his phone, hoping to catch the rare sight on camera. When he was close enough, Shoji landed you with an expression that told you not to worry. He really did take your hands, pulling you into his chest so that they bumped together. Collectively, the room erupted with coos and jeers. You found yourself speechless, never having expected such a dominant display from your duply-armed classmate. Unlike you, he seemed totally relaxed. Using his third and fourth arms, he gripped the corners of his mask and began to pull it down. You noticed a couple more phones poised to take the shot. It actually made you feel a little sorry for Shoji, like he was some kind of freak show to gawk at. Before he had chance to pull his mask down any further, you wriggled your hands free and cupped his face, smoothing the mask into place to stop him from exposing himself. "You don't have to," you said, fixing him with a determined stare. "Please don't. Not if you don't want to." And with that, you stood on your tiptoes, for he was a great deal taller than you or anyone else in the class, pulled his face down to meet yours and kissed him on the lips through his mask. Your actions were met by a chorus of disappointment, although some still fussed over how sweet it seemed, but you cared for neither reaction. It was Shoji wrapping his arms around your waist to hold you against him that you enjoyed and were surprised by most. Finally, you pulled away. You tried to drop back onto the soles of your feet, but Shoji held you in place. "Wait," he said softly, before using a second set of arms to peel your hands away from his face. "It's okay." When you realized he intended to show you his face, your cheeks flushed pink. Though some of the others realized what he was up to, they did not get chance to see the revelation. Shoji lifted his arms high and clasped them over his head, encasing both your upper halves within the dense screen of his wings for privacy. "What?" you asked, but instead of answering you, he used another hand to pull his mask down. You had wondered many times what he might look like under his mask. You had pictured many images of him, but none had quite captured his inhuman but handsome appearance, an appearance that was only made more handsome by the way he smiled so genuinely at you. "Thank you," he said honestly, "for being so considerate of me." Trying to find the words whilst faced with his unimaginable visage, you said, No, I mean, you're welcome." He smiled, knowing fine well his true face was a lot to take in. He had to say, you were taking it rather well from the way your cheeks were dusted pink instead of white with disgust. "May I?" he asked as he leaned down to greet you. You couldn't find the words, so simply smiled and kept yourself raised on your tiptoes, and held his face when his lips melded to yours. Though no one could see what was taking place inside the membrane barrier of Shoji's quirk, the girls realized at once what was happening when they saw your foot pop. They squeaked and squeed, then gushed even more when the membrane barrier fell away to reveal Shoji with his arms wrapped tightly around you, his mask back in place, but the biggest grins on both your faces.